Joe is back. We're going to talk about another brand new movie, Halloween Kills. Let's do it. Hey guys, Dan here, and it's Joe with me. Another brand new film. We saw it opening weekend. Rare, but it keeps happening.
Well,
because a lot of movies are coming out that have been pushed back, I guess, for so long.
I had a little time, and October has kind of been my month for new releases, and I had some time, and I said, you know what? I really liked the last Halloween movie, so I will try to see this one.
Yeah. So let's talk about Halloween Kills. Joe, thank you for joining.
Sure.
You are,
Thank you.
Of course, you are more of a horror person than me in your history.
Sure.
You've seen many of these movies. This is only the second Halloween movie I've seen. So I definitely wanted to have you on this one so you could really give the Halloween fan or the horror fan perspective.
Okay.
And you love specifically, I think, the 80s, like slashers are good for you. Now you love, psychological thriller or whatever as well, but I think you have a soft spot for a lot of that.
Sure.
Freddy, Jason,
Yeah.
Michael Myers kind of stuff. Whereas I was not allowed to watch that growing up, so as a result, I really haven't seen a lot of it. But I enjoyed the 2018 Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis, always good. I probably gave that around a B. I think upon further reflection, it might deserve a B+.
I really like that movie.
You mentioned last night that it might be one of your favorites of the series.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think... I mean, that previous one, I can't remember my specific grade on it. It had issues, but I think other than the original, the first Halloween, I think it might be my favorite of the series.
Okay.
I feel like that was more of like a B+, A- for
Okay.
me.
And it was very well received by people, so that's not surprising.
I remember the first movie, it had some minor issues for me that kept it down, but it was so gritty, visceral, but still playing with the almost supernatural. And I still say what really elevated for me was that opening with the podcaster. That was great. That was one of my favorite movie openings of all time. And then the build up to the say something, Michael, and then the do.
Yeah,
I was like,
iconic music.
That was going back.
I love that they're doing, by the way, and this one does it too. The classic opening
with the pumpkins
theme with the pumpkins and the same font that they used in the 70s.
Oh, I love that.
I love
it
that they're doing that throwback.
Like I think that's the that might be a better way of saying it. I do like the a lot of the classic horror, but more like specifically the 70s to 80s slashers and stuff like that. Which Halloween would be in that because I really the truth is you like to say that I'm the horror guy, which I feel like we might know people that maybe more are...
Yeah, I'd say sci-fi guy more than anything, but...
Probably sci-fi.
But I'm just saying, of the two of us, certainly horror right here.
I do really like my classic horror, and certain slashers I really like. You're right, I'm probably more of a Freddy guy.
Yeah, you love a good Fred.
At least the first one.
Yeah. But
Halloween is up there for me. I think it's just a really great classic film, and the truth is... More than anything, I'm a big John Carpenter fan.
That's true, actually.
But John Carpenter's Halloween,
I guess that's true.
And I'll even point this out here. The Thing. But I think other than maybe David Lynch, I think John Carpenter might be my favorite director.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever told you this.
I don't know.
I love John Carpenter.
Yeah, big words.
Yes, and even those titles he makes, which are very simple. Black backdrop. Maybe in this case, he's got the pumpkins, but that specific font. When I do the openings of my movies, I try to emulate the John Carpenter opening.
Wow.
I love the simple with the music and stuff. And I just love how minimalist they are.
And there's something that takes one back.
He's just so
when you see that like classic kind of thing. There's a few things that like intro wise that kind of just like
it sets the mood,
get me going. And one of them in more recent years is the Marvel opening. With I love the music that they do. Dun, 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 dun. And then they do the scenes going through, the words or whatever. Like that hypes me up for a movie.
It's a lot, yeah.
And this, even though I'm not a horror fan, I'm a pop culture person. So that theme, that piano, it's just so, it's like Bond. Like when you hear the Bond original theme, from 50 years ago, you know you're in for it. And you're like, okay, now I'm getting ready for this.
I don't know if we talk about this that much, but I mean, I won't go off on too much of a rant, but I'm whatever. I mean, it's sound design and music are such an integral part of movies, and that's one of John Carpenter's best strengths because he's great with sound design and his people with sound effects and the thing and the crunches for these movies. But he also, I love his music. He made his own soundtracks, and because he had such a low budget, couldn't hire somebody, he made the music himself.
And how iconic.
And it's just, it works so well. And you're right. So, and that gets you right there.
So let's talk about this specific film.
I know, right?
8 minutes later. But no, it's fine. It's fine because we knew this was going to happen.
I'm sorry.
But look, this does set the tone. There is a scene ahead of the opening credits, but much like a Bond or whatever.
Yeah.
You get 5-6 minutes of the scene, and then we do the theme. This is going to be non-spoiler for the most part.
Yes.
And then much like our Bond review a couple of weeks ago, we're going to take sort of the last few minutes or whatever and talk a little bit about spoilers.
Yeah.
Because this is the middle movie of a trilogy.
Which I didn't know beforehand. I thought I thought the other one was just it.
Right. So this is the new trilogy. Jamie Lee Curtis, is in all three of them. Halloween Ends, which actually we would have gotten.
Oh, yeah.
We would have gotten that now.
Dan.
Halloween, you hate the names. I know. You hate the names.
Stupid.
But last year would have been Halloween Kills.
So this was
2020.
Okay.
So we would have actually gotten the end of the trilogy now, but now we have to wait another year, which is fine because we've waited so long already.
Sure.
All right. So tell us about the basic premise of this. So it picks up right where the last one ends off.
Same day.
Same day. The house is on fire. Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie.
She's been hurt.
Judy Greer is the daughter, Karen. They go into the hospital from the thing.
For a lot of it.
But then we see that, Michael is emerging from the flames.
Yeah.
But then there's also the throwback component.
Where they do the flashbacks of the night.
For the original,
the
movie.
60s. The 70s.
I guess, right.
70s.
Oh, right, because he's already an adult. Right. But they're talking a lot about
he murdered his sister in the 60s, but the other ones...
Which they discuss a lot.
Which means that Michael Myers is like 70 in this, but, Yeah,
in theory, yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but I actually
he's supernatural. Whatever.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
As Dr. Loomis said in the original, he is pure evil in man form.
Okay, so he's not alive.
Much like many things about the Halloween series, it is metaphorical.
Ambiguous.
It's ambiguous.
Is that
as far as I know, he's human, but he's so evil. He's called the Shape in the credits. Okay?
Oh, okay.
He's supposed to be evil in
because that is the one question about the lore I really wanted to ask you because I didn't know.
Well,
I didn't know, but it didn't seem like he was alive. Because how could he be?
This is the thing about Michael Myers.
He's murdered every movie.
In some of the other movies, which this one ignores, they kind of go a little more into that. But the thing is, Michael Myers is a man. He is a human.
Okay.
But
that's how he started out. But who knows what he is now?
Even in the first movie, it's implied that, like they even say in this movie, he's so evil. There's almost a supernatural element to it, which is why he can get shot a billion times and all the things and
doesn't matter.
Keeps coming back for more movies.
Okay, so Anthony Michael Hall also is in this with a pretty prominent role from the old Breakfast Club and all of that. Okay, so you want to hear my thoughts on it first, since I'm sort of the Halloween novice, I guess.
Maybe I can give you some feedback. I don't know.
Okay, so overall, I thought this was a big old mixed bag of a movie.
Okay.
One thing that struck me immediately, and by immediately, I guess I should say within the first hour and 5 minutes of the film.
Okay.
It's something that we talk about a lot as a joke, and we just brought it up actually yesterday about The Expendables, where Terry Crews was in a hospital the whole movie.
I know where you're going with this.
An hour and 5 minutes into the movie is the first time Jamie Lee Curtis actually walks. She's in a hospital bed for the limited amount of scenes even that she's in the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
And obviously she is as much...
She's Laurie Strode.
She's Laurie Strode. She is as much, I think, of a draw for the new franchise of this as Michael Myers. That's why it was such a huge deal.
She's back.
That she's back. Laurie's back. This A-list actress, Jamie Lee Curtis, returning to her horror
like
roots.
The first last girl scream queen,
Right, absolutely. Yes, which I just found out.
Girl, yeah.
I just found out, by the way, apropos of nothing, but that her mom is
the actual first
is from Psycho, Janet Leigh. I never knew that for some reason.
I didn't know that
I'm a big trivia guy.
Well,
But
so the slasher is literally in.
I mean,
her
it's literally
DNA.
right inside her DNA.
Good old Psycho, yeah.
So
Dun,
there you
dun,
go.
dun, dun. That's good stuff.
But anyway,
That's awesome.
isn't that really cool?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we love that. But I thought that was very, very odd.
Kind of like Many
for a
Saints
choice.
of Newark.
Many Saints of Newark. We joke about it with that too. It's not really about Tony Soprano. But like, I understand. We're going to murder everybody. And obviously, they're talking a lot about the original lore. We see this gay couple now that has moved into Michael Myers' old house.
Yeah.
So there's some things there.
Big John and Little John, yeah.
Big John and Little John. But the one guy is from Mad TV, which I thought was oddly placed. But
that whole
the whole thing was a bit odd.
Yeah.
But, all right. So, obviously, the other reason people come to these movies is for the killings.
Could be the main
For
reason.
the brutal violence. Which, by the way, at the theater I work at, we were talking about this off air. The parents bringing their 5-year-old children, 4-year-old children into these movies.
Yeah, I was telling them there was
I don't
some
understand
kid, there was a
what is
baby
going on.
like right across me in the row above me. I was just like, "What?"
This is some of the most visceral, violent.
This is about
in a movie.
Some of the most violent stuff.
Yeah, I had to turn away several times.
I mean, it was
a lot of eye stuff in this movie. I don't do the eyes.
Pretty good. I mean,
but,
it's honestly one of my favorite things about the movie. It's dang good practical effects.
Well, it's right. Yes, effects look good. Fine. Brutal killings.
Michael Myers is pretty
That's
cool.
why you want to see it.
That's the main draw.
But that's the odd balance because there's two main reasons to see these movies.
One of them,
and only one of them is really present.
Well,
until the last half hour. So I definitely have mixed feelings about this movie.
So do I.
I will say the killings
pretty good.
Pretty good. If you are a big
horror
gruesome slasher fan,
you get those kicks.
You get off on the killings. You will be satisfied.
Yeah,
because they are intense,
visceral,
very visceral,
brutal,
and like you said, the effects are good for them. They
sound
look
effects,
good.
Crunch, slash, splat.
The eyes,
blood everywhere,
the killing of the eyes. But then the Laurie Strode part, especially when she was such an important part of that last chapter, is barely present here. She's in it a little bit, but not much. So that's sort of my main thoughts on the movie.
Okay.
It's very middling. So what did you think?
I think it might be middling, but maybe for a different reason.
Okay.
Because the thing I really liked about the first movie was that not the first,
but the one from 3 years ago.
I love the first movie too, but the
2018 new version,
Halloween 2 / reboot, whatever. This new series, the first one, the last
David Gordon Green's,
the last one they did, 2018 Halloween, is that it did provide something new to the series, because much like kind of reminds me of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, which I really liked, or the Hills Have Eyes reboot, where it takes these kind of classic movies, these classic slashers, but brings that really gritty, guttural realism to it. That's the thing I really loved about the previous Halloween, was that it struck this balance of, it really felt like Michael Myers was there and these people were there, and it was shot so clearly with all the close-ups and so detailed. It was just atmospherically great, but it tapped into the tone that almost made it seem supernatural. It was I really liked the last one.
Yeah, it was very good.
This one has some of that, and particularly when Michael Myers is just this indestructible force going around, and they're talking about the curse and the legend and the effect he has, and that stuff was creepy. And I felt like, ooh, there's a lot of that. But the tone is weird because it's also sort of trying to be this metatextual analysis of we can take him on. And I kind of like the fact that it was a different take, because in this movie, which they do in some of these movies, I guess at some point, they have everybody in the town trying to fight against him.
Yeah.
The people and it's almost like an action.
I thought that was cool.
That was
a call to action for the people of the town.
And they've done that in some of these. Yeah. I really like that. You know what? We're going to try to take this guy down.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. The big problem I had was not necessarily that Laurie Strode wasn't in it as much. It was kind of that I thought she was sort of oddly placed. She didn't necessarily need to be in the movie, but if the other characters that we're seeing in the movie were actually developed enough, because the performances were good. A lot of people gave great performances.
Yeah, I thought Anthony Michael Hall was okay, but
there were a lot. I felt like
Judy Greer, I really enjoyed as the daughter.
Yeah.
As Karen, she was good in the last movie.
She was good.
We know her mostly from comedy, so we don't often think of her as, a horror person.
No,
but yeah, she acts the role very well.
I like Judy Greer, but I thought the performances were pretty good. But the thing was, it has this weird balance because, like the last movie, I feel like it's elevated from the typical slashers, which I was so happy with these last couple movies. It's not dumb teenagers in the woods that
It's really not. This is people that have dealt with this character for decades.
There's new people in the town, middle-aged, older people. It's a mix, and they all seem like they're not just caricatures. But the thing is, they're all underwritten and they're mixed. We've got some,
and there's so many of them, which is why they're underwritten.
They're all over the place.
The gay couple is gay.
The gay couple's gay,
and they're gay because they bring out a charcuterie board at the beginning of the scene, and then they, I think, call each other honey or whatever.
And you've got,
and so okay, great. That's their background.
You've got a couple new characters that are in there. This new couple that's dressed up. You've got Judy Greer and her granddaughter and the boyfriend from the last movie that are kind of there,
right?
But also, randomly, we're gonna have a couple characters that were from the first movie,
from the
kids
original,
that Laurie Strode was babysitting. But I'm like, okay, that would be cool if it was more of a focus on them, on their characters. Because to be completely honest, I didn't care about them at all.
Right,
and they were in the last movie, and the nurse, Dr. Loomis's nurse. I'm like, that's a cool reference, and maybe that made somebody happy. But I don't. I'm supposed to care. I don't really know her.
Dumping it into this movie randomly.
So, that was my biggest problem. And
okay,
also,
no, that totally makes sense.
And also the main guy, the kid that she was babysitting, this really weird. There's just a lot of weird scenes like this where it's like, okay, he gets, they're in this bar. It's the anniversary of when I was like almost attacked, but we're gonna here's my friend, also the victim. Let's celebrate us. Like, so you think you're like some kind of badass?
Yeah.
Like he was so pompous and like. It was the weirdest character. I'm like, how am I supposed to like you, sympathize with you? And he has like an arc, and I'm just like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Like,
that totally makes sense.
So that was my biggest issue.
Okay.
You've got all these characters that like I either don't know or I don't know how to feel about them. And Laurie Strode's just over here. I mean, if you're gonna pick these characters, that's fine, but like you've got to have less of them, focus more on them.
Yes.
And like I said, I like the fact that they weren't quite as caricatures as they usually are in these movies. But it's like they're just better acted caricatures. Right. They're just like gay couple or black couple.
Right.
They're better than normal, but it's like they wanted to elevate it every other way, or like artistically, symbolically, but the writing wasn't quite there. And then I was kind of annoyed, and I guess it makes sense because it's a trilogy, but we won't go into spoilers, but they almost imply that, we'll lean into the supernatural and we can't beat him. Well, then.
But that's what really threw me about the character.
And then I was just like, well, this is a really annoying ending.
History,
because the thing I like about the last movie is it's like any other movie. There could be another one, or and this thing I'm like, so is this if you just saw this movie, you're like, so there's nothing there's
nothing anybody can do.
So like what? It was a weird ending.
Yeah,
I didn't care for that.
Okay, so how about the lore? Did it enhance any of that since you have experience with the early movies?
I mean,
because I feel like the 2018 version definitely did.
All right. Well, here's the weird thing. Okay.
Because not having seen any of the Halloween movies, I was pretty much up to speed with what was going on.
Good.
Because I thought they did a very good job of explaining it without necessarily it didn't feel like
they were over-explaining it.
Yeah, like it didn't feel like the original fans of the series would be like, yeah, we know, like move it along.
No, because
it seemed like it was interjecting it with the present.
And that was actually something I really did like about the movie. I'll give props to the editors. Some of the best editing I've ever seen. Because what they did was they took things we've never seen before, little things that were implied to happen at like the end of the first movie, the original. And like the old cop's backstory of feeling guilty about not killing Michael Myers. Yeah, that never happened. So
interesting.
We're filming new scenes of the movie, and they intercut it with Dr. Loomis from the original footage of the house, and that was perfect.
Oh, that's cool.
That was I'm like that is when he's come and that scene where Dr. Loomis is coming out of the house, and you've never seen the original. When he's coming out of the house, finds Michael, and the cops are staring him down. That was possibly some of the smoothest combo of footage. So maybe it'll elevate your that just like for editing, that was great.
Okay.
So I liked that. So it's like on one hand, it's like this great fusion of expanding the original movie, but remember, The last one ignored all the sequels. So this is just the first movie.
I did.
So,
I don't know if you told me or I read that, but yes, I knew that.
Because in later ones, you know how these
or maybe Honest Trailers told me.
Probably
because that was pretty good.
In the slasher movies, you know, like he'll do this and then he goes to space or he does.
Yeah,
and they do. I think they say something about like he becomes part of a cult where they resurrect him and he is supernatural.
Yeah, it was basically a direct sequel to the original.
So basically, if we ignore all the weird sequels, basically it is we're building off of. He is, as far as we know, a psycho serial killer, but he seems to like not be killed. So there's something vaguely supernatural, which is why he might be 70 and still kick everybody's butt.
Right. That totally makes sense in their universe.
So and they kind of lean into that with their grandiose speeches at the end,
right.
and I believe it. But it's something you have to imagine.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get more answers, but I think it's more of a hopefully because by the end it's like.
And I think that's always sort of the trouble of the middle film in a planned trilogy.
So this was planned?
Well, I don't know if it was planned until after the success of 2018.
Because I've always felt like the first one was like its own thing.
I don't know if they had planned an original trilogy from the beginning, but certainly that 2018 one did so well, I think they probably sat down and said, let's do an end game for this. And so they planned 2 more. But I don't know. It could have been planned as a trilogy originally. I have no clue.
If the third one does tailor things up and wrap it up, I might look at this one differently. There were things
and that's the thing. Like, right, once that third one comes out, there may be some reflections on this that are like, okay, well now I understand why they did that or whatever.
Like there are things,
but for now it's hard to say that.
There are things about this one I really liked, but the thing about the first one, the last one they made, was that it was so consistent as this whole thing. It's like it knew the direction, knew what it was, and it was great. And we got everything that this movie is trying to do.
It was just such a great balance of everything. And this movie really, I think, dropped the ball in that regard.
It's totally kind of. You said there were some jokes you didn't like.
There were a couple of jokes I thought.
Oh, another thing I didn't like actually.
That like were ill placed or whatever.
Like a couple of like these people, they get killed, but then they seem like they're still hanging out. Like that old couple, they get pretty brutal, but they're like still hanging out.
Oh yeah,
like that. I feel like they should have probably
died
sooner. Like
I guess.
So some of them are just like I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. We'll talk a little bit about some spoilers.
Yeah.
But first, let's give our grades so that if you haven't seen the movie, you can tune out the spoiler part.
Okay.
So
It's so hard.
Is it tough
for me? Well, you go first.
Okay.
Help me.
I always go first. All right. Well, I will
it.
admit you may have raised my grade slightly with your editing.
The editing was pretty damn good
because I wouldn't have known any of that because it did seem very slick. I didn't know
exactly that wasn't that was not
based on the original thing.
Yep.
But it's still middling. I mean, I'm sort of like in that C+ kind of range.
Okay.
Seeing as how I gave the last one a B+ in retrospect, B originally, I think this probably is about a full letter grade below that.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave Halloween Kills with a C+.
Okay. Well, C+ was what I was thinking. Maybe I liked it a little more than you, so I'll give it a B- then.
Okay.
But I mean, it's
well. Listen, I was giving it a C going into this, but you talked me up to the C+. So you can keep your C+ because it was your reason that it was a C+.
C+ is what I feel strongest about.
I think that's a fair grade for this movie.
I give it a hard C+.
Yeah.
Like I really because it's very mixed. Like stuff I really loved about it.
C+ to me,
it's a weird grade.
is a movie that is very, very mixed, but it's got just ever so slightly enough positives to put it in the recommend category.
I think that there is
that's a C+ for me.
There's definitely some of the greatness of that first movie in here.
Okay.
But it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
So let's talk a little bit about spoilers because so you can turn this off now if you don't want spoilers. But that last scene where Karen, we assume, gets straight up murdered.
I think she does.
I think she does. She's in Michael's old bedroom, I guess, right?
His house.
Or maybe the sister's bedroom or whatever. But she's in that house that the gay couple lived at that was Michael Myers when he was growing up. And he does not care for that.
No.
So he kills her. But that gives us a reason, I hope, for Laurie Strode to be in it a lot in the next one, sort of avenge the death of her daughter kind of thing.
Because she's saying she has to be the one to kill him, which is another thing that's weird, too, is that they kind of...
really taking it on a personal level here.
Which is a different thing because they kind of retroactively made that more of like there was this weird bond. But in the first one, that wasn't really the case. She just happened to be there, and then in a bunch of the other movies, she wasn't there, and sometimes she'd come back.
Right.
So that's something they sort of have changed because of the legend of in the pop culture, I guess.
Okay.
So that's like. I don't know. That's one thing I'm thinking. Okay, well, they hope they expand on that more, other than just a metaphorical thing. Because I mean, like, I don't know if she could take him. Like,
it doesn't seem like anybody can. But so that's the thing. So the whole town gathers. It's this sort of ruse that she gets Michael Myers there, so the whole town can beat the hell out of it.
It was good. Yeah.
And so it was great. I liked it, and I was rah them. Yeah. But then they didn't kill him because they can't kill him.
And then he gets up and starts
murdering. So like. That was another kind of, to me, weird. Was like I don't know, letdown, but like, I was just like, well, if this guy can't be stopped,
where's the tension?
Then what's the point? Right. Yeah. Like, I know he's going to murder everyone. And he murders like the whole town.
And then she says
everybody that was coming after him.
And that was the thing. It was like, and I'm wondering, are they just kind of making this up because like, oh, I see he's pure evil and he feeds off our evil and also on our fear. And it's like, you can't kill it if it gets more powerful. The more he kills, the more powerful you get. Well, then what are you supposed to do?
Then, right. You can't do anything. Just let it kill everybody?
Like that one Star Trek episode where you have to make the weapon kill people. You have to be non-violent because it reacts to violence.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great. They just kill Michael Myers with love.
Right.
Like that. I don't know if that's what they call
Have we ever seen him without a mask, by the way?
That's new to this. They
okay.
Like they play around.
I wanted to say that in the non-spoiler part because that's in the trailer. But
they play around in these movies with him not wearing his mask as much, which I know he's a guy under there, but like it's like the real person.
And it's not like it's not like she took the mask
shadow.
I mean it's not like they zoomed in on his face.
For me, I kind of like the mask being on because it keeps him less human.
Yeah, I do too.
Like and I do like the fact,
but. It gave her a great line, of course.
Get your mask.
If you want your mask, come and get it. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was good.
I do like the way they shoot it, too, where you don't see his eyes, though.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Oh, and I will
even
say,
as he's putting it back on.
Even when the mask is on, you can never see the eyes. And on the clip of the old Michael Myers, you can see his eyes, which I like. It looks like it's different now. But one thing, another little positive. One of my favorite thing, other than some of the kills, were pretty awesome. And I like his mask.
Yeah, kills were good.
But they were solid.
That's not my style,
but you have to admit.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean,
I'll tell you, my favorite thing, my pure moment was my buddy Troll would probably appreciate this part if nothing else, is the fireman. Okay? Because as the house is burning from the last movie, and the fireman going in to save everybody, and Michael Myers, spoilers, kills pretty much this whole group of firemen. I like the fact that because it's the idea of Haddonfield and legend of Michael Myers, these firemen go from using their axes to break into the house to getting defensive weapons. They know this is Michael Myers. I'm like, you know what? My hat's off to those firemen for
they tried.
Pretty awesome. And I was like,
them all.
He did, but I don't know. I kind of like the firemen went into battle.
You really hated some first responders in this movie.
I hated
a lot of them.
Oh, actually,
anybody trying to help people, he was not having it.
You know what? And that's one thing that I have mixed feelings about these movies because that is something that's different. In this movie and the last one, Michael Myers kills indiscriminately. He's killing everybody. He's killing
everybody.
He's killing old people.
That's not the original MO?
No. In the original, he
killed evil.
He was going after the babysitter. I mean, he had very specific people he killed, and then it gradually came. This one, he's just killing. There was a method. He'd stalk people. And on the last, he's just murdering anybody. Randomly going to a house and killing people. It's like he doesn't care about subtlety at all.
No, he's not one for the subtle.
Back in the day, he would stalk and peek and now it's just a force of destruction, which I like, but I'm also he just has no pattern. It's he's chaotic. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I mean, I guess the whole town is trying to kill him though. Although, the gay couple, well, of course they lived in his house. Why would you buy a house knowing it was the Michael Myers house?
I think they were idiots, to be completely honest with you.
And they kept telling everybody, do you know whose house this was? Well, yeah, we do. Didn't you? I'm sure they got it for a steal, but still.
But you are right, though, about the first responders.
Seemed odd.
The one guy that's
trying to help really were going after first responders in this movie.
He kills the one guy, and I'm like, dude, he's the first two firemen are literally trying to help him.
Yeah. Was the point of that to make him more evil? He's already so evil. What does it matter?
I know,
at this point?
But that's the thing. I'm like, that's and that I guess that sells that he's killing the fireman trying to help him. But it's like he's like I said, he's not man. He's just pure evil.
Yeah,
which I like. But it's weird because it's almost like something is.
It was odd.
I have mixed feelings about it.
I think our C pluses are right on the line here.
I agree.
All right, so listen, this has gone right about as long as the James Bond one, about 32 minutes. So let's wrap it there. So the next big release will be on your channel, Dune.
It's true.
I probably won't be on it because I don't know if I'm going to go to the premiere with you, but you're going to do a big video, I'm sure, about it. This is the Dune man. He's going to Dune it up. One of your favorites of all time, the original. So I'm certainly curious to hear your thoughts.
I'm curious to hear my thoughts too.
But yeah, so that'll be on the Merlin the Mighty.
Thank you.
I don't know when we'll have you back here for another one, but
what comes out in November? Because I don't know. This was literally my month. Like
I know that Spider-Man comes out soon, but I think that's December though.
Oh.
We'll have to look, but something.
If you can find a movie I might like, but
Eternals maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know if I care about that.
If I hear rave reviews, maybe.
I love Shang-Chi,
honestly,
though.
Shang-Chi, I wouldn't have seen unless literally
so good.
everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll see it. It was good.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Joe, pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Great talking movies with you, and we'll see everybody next time.